So, I hear you want to move to France. You have practiced the two-handed gesture that means this is ridiculous, but also c'est la vie, as well as your pout of indifference. You have watched YouTube videos on how to smoke elegantly near a toddler, and you have trained eating a croissant without looking happy about it. You have prepared to discuss cheese the way other people discuss childhood trauma, and you have rehearsed the elongated pronunciation of non. However, for all your research, you are still worried about finding the best food once you have landed. Best is a risky word. It implies there is a group of people in very expensive linen pantaloons handing out medals to a charismatic carrot. There isn't. Best is simpler than that. It is you coming home on a rainy Tuesday, shoes damp, brain tired, opening a cupboard. And then dinner doesn't feel like a compromise you made in a moment of existential weakness. You see, in France, geography is not just a map. It is a diet, a mood, and a slow-motion personality reveal. So, today, in this video, I will tell you where to live so that food isn't a special occasion. It is just something that happens to you like laundry. Number 1, the sea cauldron. Marseille and Provence. You don't move to Marseille. You arrive and the sea immediately starts setting the tone. The air smells like salt and warm stone. The markets are loud. The fish looks like it still has unfinished business. In Provence, overall, the cuisine runs on sun, herbs, olive oil, and a calm certainty that says, this is dinner. Stop negotiating with it. So, if your comfort food starts with something that used to have a social life under the waves, Marseille is a very strong candidate. La bouillabaisse is the legendary traditional Marseille fish stew. Several kinds of Mediterranean fish simmered in an aromatic broth, often with tomato, garlic, saffron, fennel, and orange peel, served properly with la rouille, a garlicky chili saffron mayo, and bread to dunk like your life depends on it. This is the Mona Lisa version of a tragic office cubicle idea of fish soup. And if I can interest you in a side quest, try l'enchoyade, a punchy Provençal anchovy spread, anchovies mashed with garlic and olive oil, sometimes with a little vinegar or herbs, designed to be eaten with raw vegetables or bread. Living in Marseille and its surroundings suits people who want food with salt in its actual bones. Here, your kitchen will slowly be colonized by fennel that just turns up uninvited, puts its feet on the table, and nobody asks it to leave. And once your palate is living on sea air and garlic confidence, you may start wanting something equally Mediterranean, but with cleaner lines and stricter rules. Number 2, the sun-soaked salad argument. Nice and the Riviera. Nice is Mediterranean food with posture. The light is brighter, the colors are sharper, and the local cuisine has a tidy intensity, as if even the vegetables have been briefed. People walk fast, eat well, and somehow make a simple lunch feel like a lifestyle. First, you will discover la soca, a thin batter of chickpea flour, water, olive oil, and salt, baked in a very hot oven, traditionally in a big round pan, until it's crisp on top and tender inside. It doesn't need to charm you. It just turns up, does its job, and leaves like a French shrug with excellent timing. Then enters la salade niçoise, a Riviera classic built around tomatoes and tuna, plus things like hard-boiled eggs, anchovies, olives, and crunchy raw vegetables, served as a meal that looks light until you realize it has enough protein to power a small ferry. And keep one hand free for the secret weapon, la pissaladière, a thick, bread-like tart topped with a slow-cooked mass of sweet onions and finished with anchovies and olives, the kind of food that doesn't care if you have a meeting later. Now, if you spend enough time in the Riviera dealing with salad regulations, you might crave the opposite of bright and precise. You might want something that says, sit down, the weather is doing something dramatic, and we have butter. Number 3, the butter cupboard. Brittany. Brittany is Atlantic France in a nutshell. Sea wind, big skies, stone villages, and food designed to keep you steady while the clouds do improv theater. Here, the cuisine doesn't flirt, it commits. If you believe butter isn't an ingredient but a moral stance, you want Brittany. The heavy lifter, la galette, a thin buckwheat crêpe filled with things like ham, cheese, egg, mushrooms folded into a square like a delicious envelope, often paired with cider, served in a ceramic bowl, because Brittany has never once cared what you think normal looks like. A glass for cider? What are you, a chemist? And then le queen amman. The name literally translates to butter cake, which is the most honest thing anyone has ever said in a bakery. This is a pastry made from layered dough laminated with obscene quantities of butter and sugar, baked until the outside caramelizes into a crackly shell and the inside becomes tender, rich, and emotionally manipulative. Brittany is for people who want the reassuring sense that even if the weather is doing something horrific outside, dinner will show up wearing a thick cardigan. From there, it's not a big leap to a region that also understands winter, just with different architecture, different accents, and a deep love of fermentation that feels oddly reassuring. Number 4, the cozy fermentation opera. Alsace. Alsace looks like someone illustrated a storybook and then quietly added excellent sausages. The villages are neat, the winters mean business, the cuisine is built for long evenings and reliable warmth, food that doesn't rush you and doesn't pretend to be light. Here you cannot avoid la choucroute garnie, sauerkraut that has been garnished, which is to say buried under enough meat to make you rethink your entire family history. It's fermented cabbage and served with an enthusiastic collection of smoked or poached sausages and pork cuts, often with potatoes, so it tastes like you have joined a well-fed mountain clan. In Alsace, you will also encounter la tarte flambée, also known as flammekuche, a very thin, crisp flat bread topped with crème fraîche, sliced onions, and lardons baked hot and fast, like pizza's minimalist cousin, who still manages to be deeply comforting. And then the slow-cooked logic spiral Backofen, a slow-baked casserole of mixed meats, often pork, lamb, beef, marinated in white wine, layered with potatoes and onions, sealed and cooked for hours, so everything becomes tender enough to make you stop speaking for a minute. If you have trouble with remembering the pronunciation, just picture a slow-motion hug from a very large, very drunk uncle. Now, after this much winter comfort, your body may develop a clear preference. It may say, yes, great. But what if dinner could also be a group activity with melted cheese and altitude? Number 5, the cheese volcano, Savoie and the Alps. The Alps don't do subtle. The scenery is sharp, the air is clean, and the food is basically, we have cold, we have cows. Let's make something heroic. This is mountain cuisine, meals that feel like they were invented because someone had to survive a snowstorm, then decided to enjoy it. If your ideal cuisine is a melted cheese plus gravity, welcome to the Alps. Here the ritual is la fondue savoyarde, a shared pot of melted Alpine cheeses, often a blend, loosened with white wine and garlic, where everyone spears bread and swirls it in molten dairy like it is a sacred ceremony and you are trying not to lose your chunk. You will also enjoy la tartiflette, a baked dish of sliced potatoes, lardons, onions, and reblochon cheese melted over the top until it forms a glorious crust, basically comfort food with a ski pass. Last but not least, la raclette, a meal built around melting raclette cheese and scraping it over potatoes and usually charcuterie and pickles on the side, turning dinner into an ongoing cheese distribution event. You don't have dinner here, you attend it. You will stand up afterwards and feel your joints file a formal complaint, but you won't care. And when you have had enough molten ceremony, you may want a different kind of depth, slower, darker, built for patience, less mountain drama, more simmered certainty. Number 6, the Bean Monastery, Toulouse and the Southwest. Here, time is an ingredient. Lunch isn't a moment, it is a plan. Markets are serious. The cooking is generous, slow, and proud of itself in a way that feels earned. This is a region where the duck is the king, the bean is the priest, and you are merely the witness. The commitment here is called le cassoulet, a slow-cooked bean stew baked with a mix of meats, often things like sausage, duck, and pork, and the whole dish feels like it could get you through winter and heartbreak. You will also deal with the duck situation, also known as le confit de canard. Duck legs cooked very slowly in duck fat until the meat becomes tender and rich with skin that can be crisped to perfection, an act of patience rewarded with pure, unapologetic flavor. It will make you want to take a very long nap in a darkened room, followed by a thoughtful stare out of a window. Now, if that energy speaks to you, but you want more color, more pepper, more coastal mountain confidence, then your compass shifts west. Number 7, the pepper diplomat, Basque country. The Basque country feels distinct the moment you arrive. Coastline on one side, mountains on the other, and a cuisine that is confident without being loud about it. Here you will become acquainted with la piperade, a Basque-style sauté of peppers, tomatoes, and onions cooked down into a sweet, savory tangle, often served with eggs or a base for meat or fish, like a warm, sunny foundation that refuses to be boring. If you are into meat, you will discover ashoa, usually finely chopped or minced veal, cooked with onions and peppers. As for dessert, have a slice of le gâteau basque, a buttery, sturdy cake with a filling, typically black cherry jam or vanilla pastry cream, so it's both simple and deeply satisfying. At this point, you've done mountains, peppers, and serious flavors. You might want a region where the sea is calmer, the elegance is dialed up, and dessert looks like it was designed with a ruler. Number 8, the salt air and custard cylinder, Bordeaux and Arcachon. Bordeaux knows how to present itself. Arcachon knows how to behave. The ocean here tastes like it's been asked to be on its best manners. This area suits people who like their pleasures clean-edged, excellent seafood, classic technique, pastries that look like they have a CV. The purists will go for les huîtres du bassin d'Arcachon, fresh oysters from the Arcachon Bay, served chilled with lemon or vinegar or shallots. Here you don't try oysters. You live near them until you develop an incredible specific taste you didn't ask for. Is that a hint of hazelnut? No, it's a hint of seaweed and my own vanity. If oysters are not for you though, you will enjoy le cannelé, a small pastry with a deeply caramelized dark crust, often scented with vanilla and rum, crackly outside, tender inside. Imagine someone compressed the concept of comfort into a tiny, fashionable cylinder. You hear the crust crack, and for a brief moment, the world feels reasonable. For meat lovers, you will come across l'entrecôte à la bordelaise, a rib steak served with Bordeaux-style red wine sauce, shallots, reduced wine, often enriched with beef marrow. That is a steak that has been for a swim in a very expensive bottle of wine and come out feeling much better about itself. Now, if you are thinking, this is all wonderful, but I want a place where food is practically a civic religion, then we need to talk about a city that takes eating seriously, very seriously. Number 9, Lyon and the Rhône. Lyon doesn't just have good food. Lyon treats food like a responsibility. It is a city of markets, bistros, and people who can discuss lunch the way others discuss politics. The local institutions, especially the bouchon, don't do minimalist plates or tiny decorative foam. They do comfort, tradition, and full commitment. If you like your cuisine classic, hearty, and served with the quiet confidence of a place that knows exactly what it is, Lyon is your stage. The signature dish, les quenelles, light, airy dumplings, often made with a savory paste and sometimes pike fish, typically baked or poached and served with a rich sauce. Another local badge is la salade lyonnaise, a warm-ish salad built with frisée or similar greens, lardons, croutons, and a poached egg. So the salad part is technically true, but the intention is clearly joy. In other words, it is a salad that refuses to behave like one, basically saying, yes, we included greens, now be quiet and enjoy yourself. Another star of Lyon's region is la cervelle de Canut, a fresh cheese spread, often fromage blanc or similar, mixed with herbs, garlic, shallots, salt, pepper, sometimes a splash of vinegar, served with bread or potatoes. It is the kind of thing you start eating politely and then realize you are eating it like a person who has lost control of their evening. And once you have lived in Lyon, you may notice something. You are becoming decisive. You are having opinions, strong ones, about sauces, about cheese, about what proper even means. Which brings us beautifully to a region that specializes in comfort, tradition, and the gentle art of feeding you into a calmer personality. Number 10, the apple brandy lullaby, Normandy. Normandy is green, coastal, and quietly intense. This is a region where cream is not a garnish, it is a method. It is also a region where butter is a baseline, where apples are taken seriously. If you want food that feels grounded, traditional, soothing, and very sure it has survived worse weather than you, Normandy makes a lot of sense. The classic, les tripes à la mode de Caen, a long simmered tripe stew from the city of Caen, slow cooked with aromatics until it becomes rich, deep, and unmistakably old school. It takes time. It expects you to respect that. And so you do. Another iconic dish, le poulet valet d'Auge, chicken braised with apples, cider, and sometimes a whisper of calvados, finished with cream. In this dish, everything tastes like the countryside has hugged you, sat you down and said, "There, stop fidgeting." And when you are in the mood for a dessert, there is la tarte normande, an apple tart enriched with cream and often almonds. It comes with that gentle sweetness that makes you think this is why people settle down. And somewhere far away, a carrot in linen pantaloons accepts this outcome in silence. So, where is the best place to live for French cuisine? It's whichever place matches the version of you who actually exists on an average day. Not the fantasy you on holiday, wearing a sombrero, eating slowly, smiling at your own personal transformation. The real you, standing in your kitchen, deciding what will stop you from feeling somewhat disappointed in humanity. And the truth is, you can eat brilliantly almost anywhere in France. My country is basically one long, delicious culinary disagreement between regions. But living in the right place means you stop trying to eat well. You just live. And one day you hear yourself say with completely sincere authority, "No. This is the proper version about something absurdly specific," which is how you will know you have settled in. Thank you very much for watching. I love you all.